All right, it's 2 o'clock. It's time for our next artist Q&A on the Butter 2 Media stage. Butter 2, what it do? Well, that sounded real good. Let's do it one more time. Butter 2, what it do? So we have a special treat. We have a very special artist with me today. I'm super excited for you guys to get to know him. And for those of you who do know him, you can just maybe learn a little bit more. So give my friend, Mr. Will Watson, some love, y'all. That's not enough. A little bit more love. We have to welcome him home. He moved all the way to NYC. We got to welcome our homeboy home.
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's
You have
up?
all your family and friends.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You're like famous, like walking around with you. We get stopped every 5 seconds. You got so many people.
This is the coolest thing ever. This is so cool.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. So,
We matching today too. I had to just point that out.
Are you guys? We
before
did not
any of
plan
this
this. I walked in and I was like, Will. I mean, what were you doing? Were you in my window this morning?
No, I know. No,
Okay.
no. We just felt the vibe. We just knew.
It was a vibe. So we had to take a picture.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna hop right into it because I have a
Okay.
feeling this is gonna be a meaty one. So, you are an Indianapolis native,
Yep.
and your work, I should say, has put you in front of great men and has taken you all over, and you have decided to move away, and now you're back here at Butter showing your work.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that first. What it feels like to be here, leave, and come back home to show the people that love you, the people in your hometown, what you've been doing.
Yeah. So it's being from here, being from Indianapolis, Indiana. I go to the East Coast, and every time I meet someone, they're like, "You're from where?" I've never met black people from Indianapolis or from Indiana. So when I hear that, one, I understand the responsibility to somewhat represent for people here. But to be able to come back, to the space that literally fostered this dream from a young kid trying to draw Batman to a crazy, college student who barely went to class, who barely did his homework, to now travel to DC, then to get my MFA, my Master's of Fine Art in Baltimore. And just recently, I had an opportunity to move to New York. So just being able to have this wild journey and be able to continue to come home and now have the opportunity to show what's been happening on this journey, it's, words can't really describe it.
So we're always glad for you to come home because you're such.
Thank you.
I'll call you a homebody because you're proud. You're proud
Thank
to be
you.
where you're from. You're
Yeah.
not one of those people who go off and then don't claim where you're from. You're very proud of where you're from.
I have an
And you-
Indiana tattoo.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh, it is. I don't think I'm that dedicated. Okay, so when did you start drawing, painting? Take us on that journey when you started and the progression to
Right.
becoming this artist or this crazy college kid that's barely going to class.
First, let me give the biggest shout out to my family. Most of them are right here in the front. When I was 4. I don't know why I remember this story so well, but I was 4 years old and I was trying to draw Batman. And my grandmother, sitting right here in the front, hey Granny, she encouraged me. I was really frustrated because I was having a hard time creating this cartoon character version of Batman. And she simply just sat me down and was like, hey, you can do anything you put your mind to. And we drew Batman together. And from that moment, I've been just creating, focused, and thinking about drawing, making things.
Shout out
That's
to
how it
Grandma. Give Grandma some.
how
I
it
mean,
happened.
she's why you're here. That is
that's how it
so
happened.
beautiful. You owe her some diamonds.
Something. Too much. Too much.
So then you drew Batman.
Yeah.
And then
And-
when did you start to really, really love, you know,
I think I just fell in love with it immediately. I fell in love with it immediately. My family saw this gift, and then they just helped nurture it. They saw me, that I was interested in it, and because it was something that was natural to me, it wasn't something that was forced upon me. They just literally nurtured it, and I fell in love with it along the way.
so what's you, of course, we know that you're a painter. So what was do you remember your first painting? Like the first,
I do remember the first painting I made. My dad put me in this art class at the Indianapolis Art Center. And my mom, where you at, Mom? My mom actually still has that painting. It's my first, I signed it on the back. It says Will Watson, first painting. It's in her apartment. She still has it. And it was it was a landscape. It was a landscape painting. Because I just painted it off the top of my head and things just fell and kept going from there.
so what kind of materials do you prefer to use? I mean, you have so many pieces here this weekend, but what is your material of choice?
My material of choice, I'm an oil painter by trade. So I started using acrylic. Then in graduate school, I transitioned to oil paint. Now I'm mixed media because I like to use acrylic, oil paint, crayons, markers. And I found something really interesting with this 18 karat gold leaf pen, which I'm really having some fun with right now.
Very cool. So I'm looking over here to my left, and you guys, there is a painting with a yellow dot on it. So do we know what the yellow dot means, y'all?
Yeah.
It means soul. So around here, when we see a yellow dot, we give love. Clap it up for the soul painting. So that means Will has money for drinks on everyone, right? For everyone. Okay, so I'm noticing all these people, the people that you're painting, and their faces.
Yeah.
Tell us about the technique you're using with this. I don't even want to mess it up because I want you to tell us about
Right.
the faces because they're gone.
Right.
What does
So-
that mean?
The faces aren't gone. No, the faces are there.
There.
The faces are there. So around like 2019, I just fell out of love with creating representational imagery. I felt at that point in my artistic career, I no longer needed to flex the fact that I knew how to paint a face. So I began to think a little bit deeper, a little bit more intellectual, more academic. What are some ways I can still capture expression, capture the essence of a human being with simple form, just using a form, a shape, to try to capture what someone is like, where they are, the mood. But then I also play with representation because the figures aren't necessarily brown. They're brown people for sure, but they're rendered in a gold. So that is to speak to how I view people, how I choose to view us specifically as black people, not as black people, but as golden. I see the value and the worth. So in many ways, it's me projecting that. It's me projecting my thoughts of value and worth of a human being into some type of image.
Wow. So the piece right here to my left of the girl, tell us about the piece at the top.
The piece at the top is a piece, it's an image I did of a friend of mine who was a model. I really liked the photograph she had, so I asked her you know, I want you to, I want to paint you someday. And she was like, oh, here, you can just have this photograph. And that one is how it kind of organically happened. I called it working out the kinks so the rest can blossom, because it was literally one of the first paintings I did in this style, and it helped me to begin figuring out how these people will exist in this space. The one below it is it's a really, really special image, because it's called For Tyler. And it's, like I said, it's an image, it's a painting that speaks to the value of a human being. I think sometimes in it being, pretty literal and specific about the prison pipeline system, and, people going through that, and maybe sometimes feeling like life is a little bit tougher because I have this burden. So this painting is representation of a young boy who may feel burdened, but again, we don't see his burden. All we have the opportunity to do is appreciate his value. We don't know what he's going through. We look at people, we don't know what they're dealing with. But it's the moment when we label them, we put them as less than. So if we can continue to just see everybody for who they are, their value, it will continue to build people up and help people, we can save lives that way.
So when you're about to start a painting, what is the inspiration behind it? I know you have, like you said, a photograph or you want to paint people, but what is a number one motivator or inspiration just overall?
These people sitting right in this first section right here
Family.
is probably the biggest inspiration. A lot of my work has to do with family values, family archives. So just me taking a moment to study the history of my family, study the activities, study the interest. There's a vast connection between what I experience in my life and what other people experience. It's collective consciousness. We have these ideas and values that are very similar. We have outwardly, we look different, but in the inside, a lot of stuff is still ticking the same. So yeah.
Well, give it up for the family.
Yeah, shout out to my family.
The family.
Shout out to the family.
So, talk to us about your residency. You touched on it earlier that you were at Governor's Island. Now you were in Baltimore, right? You left here, you went to Baltimore. So you can go from here to Baltimore to Governor's Island.
All right. So the journey. I had a friend who opened up his apartment in Alexandria, Virginia. It's about 20 minutes south of DC. I lived there for about 6 months, figured out life, got a job, and moved to DC. Worked and hustled, hit the ground running in DC, met a bunch of people, got connected in the art world out there, hit a wall, and then nothing happened in DC for 6 months. So I was like, oh God, what do I do? So I was just like, maybe I'll go back to school. So I applied to a few different schools, George Washington University, which I'm now employed by, Howard University, and the Maryland Institute College of Art. That was the Maryland MICA was the school that accepted me. It's the top 4, one of the top 3 or 4 schools in the nation for painting. It's a very, very difficult and rigorous program to get into. So I felt so blessed and so honored to be selected. Did my program, graduated in 2018, and I wanted to run away from Baltimore and just like go figure out life. But, you know, God has different plans for you. I messed around and stayed in Baltimore for 7 years. It was 7 years. And this past year, I had an opportunity. There was a gallery I met in Miami during Art Basel who invited me to do this artist residency on Governor's Island. And the residency was 2 months. It was just a working space and then an exhibition space for 3 months after the residency. So the residency just ended at the beginning of August, and it was great. I was able to really introduce my work, myself, into a New York art market, which is extremely difficult. It's not guaranteed, and it takes a lot of patience and networking and relationship building. So I'm just grateful that I was able to like learn a lot of those things here to, you know, kind of help build moving forward.
Okay, so, but I was gonna ask something else, but I'm looking at my time, so we had to take questions from the audience.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, does anyone have questions for Will? Anyone? Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Shout out to E-Jazz too. Very, very talented musician, producer, writer. And he's from the crib too.
Salutations. Hey, yo, this is my mentor from St. Florian's summer camp at St. Florian's. So I don't know if y'all ever went to summer camp with some of them, but man, I've always looked up to Will, and my question for you is, being in a creative industry and having to stay creative when you hit walls, creative solutions. I've heard a lot of creative solutions, and that's kind of in my path as well in the music. So when it comes to creative solutions in Indianapolis, I guess how did you bring it all back and kind of focus it here? Because Butter's new to me. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
And being a part of this seems so grandiose, so amazing. And I just want to know, how did you get in touch with them? Like, how did you come back and know about this when you're all the way out there?
Nah, I've been gang. No, I've been connected with Molly. I've been connected with Alan since forever. I've been connected with, you know, Metronome, Tamara. So it's, like I said, it's just relationships. Being connected to these people while we literally were just building everything, fighting for everything. And I feel like it's still a little battle. This is, you know, this is a huge victory, but it still works in progress. So building the relationships, and as far as the creative solutions part, it's finding moments and opportunities to insert yourself in the thing you love. So when you are stuck and you can't think and you can't come up with anything creative, jump into the thing. Go, if you're a musician, go see a music show. Go see something completely different. If you're an artist, go to a museum, go to a gallery, go watch a movie. Like, all these, it's just visual information that you just kind of have to continue to feed yourself. Read a book. Like, there's so many things that inspiration can come from everywhere. I think a lot of times people search for it, but it's really like right in front of you. We just got a bunch of clouds around us, and we can't see it sometimes.
Great question. Great question. Does anyone else have questions for Will? Okay. Oh, you do? Oh. Put your hand. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
So what's been your main motivator? Like, what's been keeping you going throughout this whole journey? Because it seems like you've been in this for quite a while, over a decade even. As an artist, I really would like to know that. Because sometimes I lose that fire, but I know that I need to do this. So I would love to hear that from you.
this, you know, sometimes it feels like you take on a weight, you take on a burden inadvertently. So what keeps me going now is the conversations that I had here and the conversations from last year. I ain't really realized so many people look up to me. And that's, you know, that's weird. So what really keeps me going is like I can't stop or somebody else is gonna quit. If I stop, if I give up, somebody else is gonna feel that same defeat and give up. So I can't do that. I just can't do it. It's bigger than me. It's way bigger than me.
Give Will Watson a round of applause, everybody. Show him some love. Last question, how can people keep in contact with you? And then if you have anything coming up that we need to know about, that we need to keep in contact and all that.
I forget my Instagram handle all the time. It used to be Will the Artist, so everybody knows me probably from that. But it's Will_Watson Art. That's my Instagram handle. Send me a message. I may not see it all the time. Come talk to me. My website, willwatsonart.com. You can get on there, find me on there. I have a contact sheet. I have a newsletter you can sign up for on the website. Please sign up for my newsletter. Let's see, I have a couple of shows coming up. September 24th, I have a show in DC. And October 6th, the day before my birthday, I have a solo show in Baltimore. So join my mailing list, follow my Instagram, come talk to me. I'll make sure I give all y'all that information. But thank y'all for real. Like, this is great. I love this.
Give him some love, you guys. Will Watson, thank you so much for chatting with me. DJ Chromatic, it's on you.